My name's Josh Stopford, and I run West Valley Guitars, and I've been playing the guitar since I was 12. I'm now 41. My dad had an acoustic which someone had made for him up in the loft, and I stole it down from there, having been playing the saxophone, which was just not nearly rock and roll enough for me. And I just put it in my room, and I liked the way it looked. And I couldn't play it, but I love the way it felt on my lap. And not long after, I asked for a guitar for my birthday, and I got a white Strat style Encore, and I was just like totally blown away by it. I remember putting it on the chair in my room and lying in bed, just staring at it for hours before I went to sleep, and just like, I'm pretty sure I was grinning. And so I would say that that was really my first sort of, when it landed for me, how much I loved this instrument, even though I couldn't play it yet. I think because I was just becoming a teenager and I was starting to look for, not actively, but sort of feel out escape routes from the family and trying to carve out some independence as a teen. And I think this thing just sort of called out to me as like, I'm going to help you do that. Yeah, I heard the call. I followed the call. Now that I build guitars for a living and look after them, guitars have become my profession and my work. Before that, when I was a musician, they were my tools. And before I was a musician, they were my sort of, my friends and my way of making friends as well, and so my way of presenting myself in the world. So my relationship with guitars always changes depending on my sort of professional and personal interaction with them, but they'll always be my friends, I think. I always feel most comfortable when I've got one on me. Music has been the sort of carved out path all my life, and I studied it at every opportunity I could, at school, at college, and at university. And after university, I ended up getting what I wanted from uni, which was just to get in a band. I really didn't care about the degree. I just wanted to put myself in a place where there was musicians, where I could find a band, and I found one. And so post 22, for about 9 years, I was just gigging professionally all the time. And at that point, my relationship with the guitar, I think, was one of, it was quite practical in a way. We were touring so hard, and I remember not looking after my instruments at all. I remember my bass falling out the back of the car once, and I wasn't even that bothered, to be honest. I saw that the neck didn't break, so I was just like, okay, I think it's fine. I think guitar gives me the sort of extra limb that we all need to be in the world. I think we all need something more than ourselves, and it's my way of extending out into the world, and that helps me in all sorts of ways. It helps me express myself musically, artistically, which is a very personal thing for me. But then in a social context, that's always been how I've made friends. All of my best friends, they're all from playing in bands. That's just, it's been my social tool forever. And I think I always saw the potential for it to be that. I was always very much comfortable with a guitar on my back, walking to college, I liked what that said about me, and it put something out into the world about me that people could then respond to. And very often that response is very positive with the guitar. You know, people are interested that you play, they're interested that you're obviously musical. That comes with its own connotations. And I just found it was an incredible tool for helping me to make friends. And so I feel like forever grateful to these, you know, non-inanimate objects. To me, guitars mean a conduit between your mind and your soul and your output, whatever that may be, whether it's creative, whether it's social. It is, for me, the all-important piece that needs to be plugged in between here and here. Insert guitar, and then whatever was here can get to there. Whenever I feel depressed, I reach for the guitar. And I have noticed there have been times in my life where I have been lent over these things for extraordinary lengths of time. And it does tend to be where I go when I feel like I can't cope or like I want to escape. It's an incredible tool for escapism, which is funny because it's also a tool for, you know, social interaction and social integration. It's amazing like that. It can do two opposite things. I think guitar has helped me through bouts of depression, but it's also helped me through times of pure joy, you know, like to connect with people around me. And I actually had a huge row with one of the guitar players in our band once, and I threw his guitar at him from across the bus. I mean, it helped me break up the band. Quite literally. Yeah. I constantly, I have a constant feeling of not being a great musician. And sometimes that has made me want to stop, but only very fleetingly. I think I wanted to stop playing music for a while after my band dissolved. I had to sort of completely reevaluate what I was going to do with my life. And there was part of me that just thought, I can't handle the disappointment that I felt with music slipping through my fingers. And I just thought, instead of sort of having remnants, let's just chuck it all away. So there was a short time when I thought that, but then on came the depression, and the first thing I reached for is the guitar. I don't think anything could ever stop me playing the guitar. If I was on Desert Island Discs, it's the only thing I bring with me. I think a lot about what happens if I cut one of my fingers off on the bandsaw, you know, or if I run a router blade through my palm. I often think, well, if Django Reinhardt can do it, then I'll be all right. I literally sort of visualize how I can continue to play the guitar, even if I have like some kind of mutilating injury. So I don't think there's any stopping me playing the guitar. This is a big thing to say. I think I get more satisfaction to a certain degree from building guitars for people than I ever did playing music to people. Music always felt, for me, like a bit of an indulgence. It felt a bit like a gift to myself. And building someone a guitar that they have specced out and painted over and thought through every part of it, when they come and pick it up or when I send it out to them, it really does feel like I'm giving something to them which feels great, because I have put so much thought and energy and time into trying to make this perfect for them, that I feel like I'm, they're getting this thing forever. And when they die, it's still going to be there. It's like, and not in an ego way, in like the ultimate sort of idea of like leaving something behind. I really love knowing that these things are going to be around longer than I am. And that, one day these guitars they'll be in someone's attic, or they'll be in some secondhand shop. Who knows where they'll be? I love that these things, I set them off into the world, and then they go and have their own lives and their own little journeys of their own. After we're all dead and gone, I find that really comforting, actually. You don't have to be an amazing guitar player to write powerful music. And I really latched onto that. I loved that idea. I think I was a bit of a lazy learner. And I also loved the idea of just the spontaneity. I didn't want to sit in my bedroom practicing. I wanted to sit in my bedroom writing songs, and I wanted to do it like straight away. However, I would say to my younger self, sit down and learn some scales, mate. Seriously, just do it. Even if you've never used them, just do it. So as boring as it is, I would just tell myself to just get a bit more technical learning on the go. I think I embraced the other side of guitar playing to the max, and I'm glad I did that. But it would be nice to be at least able to be a bit more technically proficient if I wanted to be. But, that was never my priority, and I kind of semi-stand by that. Guitar is so important to me because it's been my whole life. Every decision I've made has been my guiding light has always been music manifest in the guitar. From where I lived, from who I made friends with, to how I spent my evenings and mornings and nights and weekends and girlfriends' birthdays and everything. My whole life has been around these things. I cannot imagine who I would even be without it, let alone where. So, I owe everything to it. The musical breadth of this instrument is just insane. The amount that you can do, the amount of genres you can play, the amount of genres you can invent is just extraordinary, like no other instrument I can think of. It's also so, you can strap it to your back. It's just the right size. You can hold it. I used to sleep in a bed with my bass when I was a kid, so I could wake up and play it straight away. They're such beautiful designs. I mean, they nailed it. They nailed it straight away. So for me, guitar just has everything that you would need. You can be in any band. You can play any music on them. They feel so great on your body. They're beautifully designed. And they can be with you forever and ever and ever. You could go to prison and still have a guitar. Do you know what I mean? You could be on a desert island and still have a guitar. You could be like poor old Django and only have 2 fingers, and you can still play the guitar. Like, they will always be there. That's why guitar.